First off, I just want to say it's a great pleasure to welcome all of you here to this event today. Kate and I, again, are so honored to stand in the presence of you as extraordinary individuals who possess this power to shape the world that we live in. And each of you is a beacon of inspiration, a force of innovation, and a catalyst for change. I think that's why you're here. And it's an honor to address a gathering of visionaries and dreamers and pioneers such as yourself. And in this room, we are united by a shared purpose and a burning desire to make a difference, to challenge the status quo, and to leave a lasting impact on the world. And, we really are the architects of change, the creators of new possibilities, and the guardians of progress. And our mission is not merely to exist in this world, but is actually to leave it transformed for the better. So I want to just have you take a moment right now to just notice your breath as you're coming into this space. You don't need to change anything about your breath. I want you just to notice it and just kind of let those words I just said sort of land in you a little bit. And I want to welcome you into this experience, and I want to share something with you. And again, welcome to Chartering the Future. Hold on one sec.
All right, I'm going to share a bit. So just bear with me a moment. We have a little short video that we want to share with all of you just to get us grounded, anchored into the present moment before we spend the next 60 minutes together. So with that, let me okay, here we go.
Excellent. So this one.
Today,
all right.
Stand at the dawn of a new era.
I'm going to start up in the beginning.
Today, we stand at the dawn of a new era. A time when we have the opportunity to shape the future of the coaching and human transformation industry, and to help people in ways that were once unimaginable. As change agents, we have the power to inspire and motivate, to change lives, and to make a positive impact on the world. But to truly shape the future of our industry, we must embrace new ideas, new technologies, and new ways of being. We must be open to change and willing to evolve, to stay ahead of the curve and provide our clients with the best possible experience, one that starts with our own embodiment of these values. At the core of coaching lies something much deeper than just technique or methodology. Coaching is about fostering deep connection with our clients and building relationships that are grounded in trust, empathy, and deep curiosity. Our work is to help people overcome obstacles, realize their boldest dreams, and to become vessels of transformation for themselves and the world around them. So let us embrace this challenge with passion, creativity, and a commitment to excellence. Let us be the pioneers of a new era, one that is grounded in compassion, innovation, and a deep reverence for the human spirit. The future is ours to create. And together, we can change the world, one nervous system at a time.
So just let that sink in for a moment, maybe just noticing anything that you heard, that you saw, or that you felt that really connected with you. And I want to give us an opportunity just to connect with everyone in this virtual space. I know we have folks from all different time zones and all different parts of the world, which is such a beautiful thing. And so we always invite you to come on and be on camera to show your beautiful face here in this space. Of course, it's always optional, but we always encourage that if that's something that you feel comfortable with. And then I want to just take a moment for us to all speak ourselves into this space. So in about 10 seconds or so, I'm going to invite everyone just to come off of mute at the same time and just name something. So it might just be, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm present, just anything that really speaks to you, that gets you excited to be in this space with one another. So there's no wrong or right way to do this. We don't have to do it all at the exact same time. This is just about connecting with each other. So on the count of 3, you can unmute yourself and just speak yourself into this space. So 3, 2, 1.
I am present.
Happy to be here.
Here.
Beautiful. So happy to have you, Marlene and Lucy and Logan and Jennifer and Carmana and Julie and everyone that's here today. We know that many folks couldn't be here with us live. And so if you're watching the recording, feel free to speak yourself into this space. There is still a beautiful energy, even if you are watching this after the fact. So just so happy to have you all here with us. So with that, we just want to take a quick moment to do just a quick intro. I know for some of you, you might know me a bit better than you know Laura. And for some of you, you might know Laura better than myself. And so I always like to say that I started this journey, gosh, when I was probably about 2 years old, when I started dancing and figure skating competitively, and always felt myself connected to my body. And our bodies are going to be a really big theme of today's conversation in terms of how we can be vessels of transformation, not only for ourselves, but for our clients. But really, I say that my formal journey began about 7 years ago when I was facing the hardest time in my life to date. And that was when I was going through major burnout and a health crisis. And it was, I always say it was the best, worst thing that happened to me, because it led me to do the work that I do today and has given me the opportunity to impact hundreds of thousands of people across hundreds of organizations, some of which that you see here on this slide, as well as working with founders like yourselves, other coaches and other entrepreneurs that are really mission driven and are here and here to do something really purposeful in the world. And so I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll turn it over to Laura just to say a quick hello and share just a little bit more about her journey and background.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kate. And thank you all for being here, whether you're again watching live or on the replay. It's such an honor that you're here. My story is a little bit interesting. I actually started out, in the hospitality industry, and I was in that industry from, I want to say, I think it was one of my first jobs. So I was probably 14 or 15 years old. And what was really interesting about that industry was just the fast pacedness of it, and there was a part of me that really thrived on that, like just being able to read a room and know exactly what someone wanted at the exact moment they needed it before they even voiced it. And it's funny now looking back and seeing how I was already kind of using some of my aspects of my body and my nervous system to do that, because I was looking at cues from people, to nonverbal cues. But anyways, for that industry, I don't know if you guys know it at all, well, but it has a high rate of burnout. And so while I loved it, I also experienced my own level of burnout being in that industry, because I worked my way up from washing dishes, and eventually I became a manager of a high-end restaurant. And once you get to that level of a hospitality too, the level of expectation gets even higher. So there was a lot of perfectionism and having to make everything look just right. And, it really, in that whole experience of being in the hospitality industry, it really taught me so much, first of all, about people. And it also taught me a lot about myself. And at the same time, while I was also working in restaurants, I was going through school and I was studying psychology because I've always had a really big passion for wanting to help people. And I thought the best way to help them was through understanding them more. And so I studied psychology. It's a long story, but eventually I discovered, polyvagal theory and somatic experiencing. And this is what we'll be talking a little bit about today. And that's the work that I do today and that Kate does as well. And I really started to merge what I was learning in terms of the nervous system and somatic work, actually, even while I was working in the hospitality industry. And it was a really interesting blend to bring, this aspect of the body into business and really bridge the two. And so the last few years, I've been working along with, same as Kate, like been working with a lot of founders and coaches and also those in the corporate industries as well, and really helping these leaders to lead from a more stabilized place so they don't burn out, and essentially helping them heal burnout and prevent burnout in the first place. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. So we would love to hear from all of you here today. Maybe just pop into the chat and let us know what brought you here. Maybe it's something you want to share about the formal role that you're in today, either as a coach or mentor or human transformation expert. Maybe it's something in particular that just really led you to register for today's experience and something that you're really excited to learn more about. And so you can just pop into the chat and just let us know. We'd love to just get a perspective of what brought you here and what you're most excited about. Yeah, anyone want to share anything in the chat? Yeah, hi Jessica, beautiful. Been studying restorative methods such as restorative yoga. So beautiful. Yoga is such a beautiful practice. Anastasia, great to see you here. Looking to explore opportunities to open my next career chapter and merge nervous system regulation and real estate.
Love it.
Oh, beautiful. Laura and I have been talking recently about how much both the real estate space and the financial services, like people that are advising people on their finances and on their wealth, how much nervous system work is needed in those two spaces. So we're so honored to have you here. Melissa. Big fan of Laura's work and always looking to learn more. Amazing. So happy to have you here. Yeah, so we have some folks that are in the coaching space, excited to learn more about how to be transformational in this space. Beautiful, beautiful. Carmana works with a lot of high achievers, and so looking to learn more about the nervous system, both for self and clients. Beautiful. Yeah. IO Psych world, Logan, beautiful. I have a lot of clients in the IO Psych world and leadership development and working with corporate leaders. Yep. Yeah, so you are no stranger to that. Beautiful. We're so happy to have you here. Some folks in the burnout space. Oh, you're speaking our language. Lucy, beautiful. Love connecting with Kate and looking to expand how I emphasize nervous system regulation in my wedding photography work. Yes, I can personally attest to how beautiful and transformative Lucy is with her photography work for weddings and just how naturally you already weave that into your work. Beautiful. Okay, well, so excited. Thank you all so much for sharing. We want to make sure we stay on track from a timing perspective. So with that, let's just take a quick peek. We want to give you a sense of where we're going today and how we're going to spend our time together. So with that, as you probably heard when you signed up, and you probably have heard Laura and I sharing a bit about this, just as we were promoting this masterclass, is just the experiential nature of it. So while we absolutely want to share insights with you and give you kind of a sneak peek or pull back the curtain, so to speak, of what Laura and I are seeing today in the marketplace and kind of the big opportunity that exists for you all as experts. We also want to make sure that this is really interactive and experiential. So we've really intentionally woven different moments and experiences throughout this time for us to really get in our bodies, experience nervous system work in real time together. And so that is certainly going to be a part of our journey today. So we're going to uncover the 3 big trends that are happening right now. And how that's impacting either your current business or what you might be looking to do in the future. As I know some of you are looking at making a transition into the entrepreneurial space. And so this will be really important from that perspective. We're going to look at why a lot of different modalities out there in the market today in terms of how we support our clients are falling short, and kind of the missing link in that, and the big opportunity that does exist right now for you to increase those results, not only with your clients, but with yourself personally, and to do it in a way that allows you to scale your business with feeling less stressed and less overwhelmed and feeling more fulfilled in the process. And then we'll discuss the 3 realities that the top 1% of coaches and really human transformation experts are using today to really shape the future. As Laura mentioned, many of you are here because you are pioneers, you are forward thinkers. And so we're going to be talking a lot about the future together and dreaming into possibility. And then we have an announcement at, I would say, the 85% mark. So probably about 10 minutes or 7 minutes before we wrap today. And so be sure to stay till the end if you can to hear that announcement. And if you're watching the recording, make sure to watch through the end so that you can hear the news that Laura and I have to share. All right, so I'm just going to turn it over to Laura for a few minutes just to set the groundwork and kick us off today.
Hey, thank you so much, Kate. So yeah, I first wanted to say that there's always choice in how we engage here today. So one of the big components of work with the nervous system or somatic work in general is what we call the 3 C's. So there's choice and connection and context. So Kate and I really giving you context for what we're going to be doing today, kind of laying out some things, the connection piece that we want to create with all of you here in this space, and however that feels safe for you to do, and then also the choice. So we'd love for, like what Kate mentioned, for you to be on camera if that feels comfortable for you. But again, at any point, if you don't want to have your camera on, of course, you're welcome to turn it off, and same with sharing. So there'll be a couple points we might ask, like we did at the beginning, for you to share something if you feel called to, either by unmuting yourself or dropping it in the chat. We also would like you to use the Zoom chat intentionally, meaning like trying to leave your questions. If you have questions as we're going along in this process, to just leave them to the end, because Kate and I just don't want to miss them in case they're getting dropped into the chat. So we will have a little bit of time. We try to set a little bit of time aside at the end for some Q&A. So if you have questions, you can just write them down somewhere so you don't forget, and then we'll get to those at the end. And again, just really happy that you're all here today. So I want to start by actually doing one really simple exercise with all of you to kind of bring in a little bit of that connection with yourself and your own breath. So I want you to just take a moment right now to just notice your breath. And again, you don't need to change it. I want you just to notice it for just a moment. And you're welcome to look down or close your eyes, whatever's comfortable for you or helps you to tune into that sensation of your breath. And on the next inhale that you take through your nose, I'd love for you to just count the length of your inhale. Again, you don't need to change it. I want you just to notice it. And then on the next exhale that you take, I'd love for you to just count the length of that exhale. And I'd love for you just to notice now, which one is longer today in this moment? So was it your inhale? Was it your exhale? Or were they the same? Were they the exact same length? And if you'd like, you're welcome to share a little bit in the chat, just which one you noticed, which was longer today, your inhale or your exhale, or were they the same? Longer exhale. Lovely, Lucy. Longer exhale. Same, Logan. Okay, mine's the same. Great. Right. Thank you so much for sharing. Same. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I thought that was a really good one to do. And it's a really simple one. So often there can be an element sometimes of trying to manipulate our breath. And so I think it's just really nice to just take a moment to pause and just even notice where your breath is without having to change anything about it. And then just noticing, is my inhale longer than my exhale? And that's really simple just by counting the lengths of the inhale and counting the lengths of the exhale. So great job, everybody. Thank you. Longer exhale, about the same. Beautiful.
Beautiful. I also had a much longer exhale. My exhale was probably 2 or 3 times the length of my inhale. So yeah, just beautiful awareness. So before we dive into our first kind of meaningful reflection prompt that we're going to do together, I'm curious, knowing that we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, you know, a big theme of our time together, as you know, is the nervous system and how we can use it in our work and our businesses and how we support our clients. And so I'm just curious to get a sense of what is your personal kind of perspective or point of view with the role that you see the nervous system playing and nervous system work playing in your own business and your own life, perhaps, and just really the future of the industry that we're all in. So yeah, just curious if there is a point of view that you have or a perspective that you'd like to share and name right now. And you can do that by just popping into the chat. Any thoughts? You know, yeah, Jennifer said, I see there is a huge need, but it's hard to get people on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to use these techniques during workday when I have to make a decision. So beautiful. I feel like it's the foundation for any change we want to make in our lives.
Yes.
Yeah, so well said, Carmana. So well said. A very dominant role in my business. Bryn, beautiful. Eleni, welcome. Being able to sustain working in a practitioner role means regulating my own nervous system. Yeah. Logan, burnout is so prevalent right now, and companies are finally investing into nervous system regulation. Yeah, managers can't plug into their most creative and profitable tasks. Absolutely. If you're someone that desires to serve corporate America or B2B in any way, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit company, there's a lot of opportunity right now as burnout rates are at the all-time highest they've ever been. 79% of people are burned out right now, according to the APA. So there's a huge opportunity. Yeah, Lucy said, I think clients experience their wedding days better when they have a regulated nervous system. 100%. And it's my role to help them, given how much time I spend with them. Regulating my own nervous system enables me to be creative and confident. Yeah, beautiful. So beautiful and so well said. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura to pose a more intentional and deeper question that we can all just spend a few minutes reflecting on together. So Laura, I will turn it over to you and we'll just put the question on the screen so that you can see it here.
So yeah, thank you all for just sharing, your thoughts about where you see nervous system work going or the importance of it in this industry and other industries, and love that, all of you see that it has a huge importance. So I want you to just take a moment to reflect on what is it about attending this experience to support up-leveling your coaching skills that gives you a sense of purpose, meaning, or fulfillment. So, and just taking a moment to reflect, so if you have a piece of paper next to you, you can write it down. If you want to just drop it, if you want to write it on your phone, like your notes, or drop it somewhere in the chat and share. But what is it about attending this experience this experience to support up-leveling your coaching skills that gives you a sense of purpose, meaning, or fulfillment? So just taking a moment, it doesn't have to be a long, I'm just going to take a couple minutes here, just reflect on this.
So we'll just take another 30 seconds or so to just wrap up any thoughts that are coming up for you. And then just invite you to share in the chat as you're wrapping up. And if anyone wants to come off of mute, we'll give you the opportunity to do so here in about 15 seconds or so. All right. Anything that came up for you that you'd like to name or share? And you can do that in the chat, or if you'd like to raise your virtual hand, we can invite you to come off of mute and share what might have come up for you. I think I see some folks typing, so I'll just give us another few seconds. And of course, always an option to keep it to yourself. All right. Yeah, Melissa, coming together with like-minded people. Yeah, community and connection is one of the most powerful things, one of the most powerful tools that we can use. Thank you for naming that, Melissa. So beautiful. Yeah, Carmana, being here to create that long-lasting, sustainable change, supporting your bigger why.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Yeah, Anastasia, want to build a fairy tale, lives, places for having those experiences. Beautiful. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing and thank you for participating. We're going to shift into exploring more of the trends out there that are in the market right now. So we're going to share some data, some insights, some examples of what Laura and I are seeing in our own practices with our own clients. And we're going to start there. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura to take us through the first big trend that we're hearing and seeing right now.
Yes. So thank you again for everyone who's been sharing in the chat and just for taking the moment right now to just reflect on this bigger question of why, because I feel like oftentimes we're just going and doing and moving and we're not always kind of pausing for just a moment and kind of looking into why am I, what is this really about? What is the bigger why? And even just coming to this experience, what was the bigger why for you? So thank you for taking a moment to reflect on that. So Kate and I have been talking for quite some time now, and we've essentially pointed out these three big market trends that we're seeing currently. And one of the big ones, and one of the first ones, is uncertainty and unprecedented rates of change, right? So we're seeing rapid pace of technology, like moving very quickly. Markets and economies are changing. A lot of this just in the last 3 years, right? Just due to the pandemic and how that shifted all the ways in which people work and connect with one another. And even pre-pandemic, Kate and I were seeing, the studies showing how burnout rates were high even then, and then now we're looking, here we are post-pandemic, and these numbers are even higher, right? And so stress and burnout continues to rise for people both in the entrepreneurial space and the B2B and corporate space. So people need solutions that can address the root cause of their stress and burnout from the level of the nervous system. So it's not that companies or even entrepreneurs aren't realizing that there's burnout or that there's unprecedented levels of change. And we're going to get into more of this later. So it's not that they're not recognizing it, but maybe like it's really looking at what are the root causes of some of this burnout and how can we address it. And so, for example, too, the American Institute of Stress reports that stress costs U.S. businesses an estimated $300 billion each year. That's just in loss of productivity, absenteeism, and healthcare costs. So again, like larger companies are seeing this and they're like, wow, this is like we need to get a handle on this in order to not only for revenue purposes, but also to retain our talent and to keep our leaders. And also, according to the International even Coaching Federation recently, they said that 66% of American workers have high levels of stress with extreme fatigue. So the United States workforce is essentially facing a human energy crisis right now. So, and this is all, connected to a lot of, there's multiple variables here, but one of them definitely being unprecedented change and uncertainty that's happening. And I want to talk just a little bit about some of the science of this for just a moment as to what's kind of happening on a neurological level here. So when we as humans are faced with something new or different, the brain has to work harder to process and integrate the information, which can be mentally and physically taxing to do. This is why, oftentimes maybe you see with clients or even with yourself, like you'll kind of end up doing the same thing over and over again, even if it's something that maybe isn't the best for you, but it's what your brain or your body knows, right? Because if it looks at wanting to change a habit or change something, it goes, oh, well, that's going to take a certain amount of efforting or energy to do that. And so, our brain and body is always trying to, essentially find the most efficient way to conserve energy. And then you look at kind of like what's been going on in the world recently, right? Like we talked about the pandemic, all this change and uncertainty that's happening. So there's definitely an aspect here that, Kate and I are seeing with the clients that we work with, whether it be in corporate or even the entrepreneurial space too, where it's like, there's just the system kind of going into this freeze response because it's like, wow, like all this change is happening. I have all this efforting that I need to do in order to kind of essentially adjust to this change, right? So uncertainty and ambiguity activate the survival response, and that's essentially the brainstem, the amygdala, the part of the brain that's responsible for processing fear and anxiety. So a lot of that's getting triggered right now. So again, uncertainty and ambiguity is naturally going to trigger this part of the brain, and so stress and burnout are at an all-time high, both for coaches and practitioners themselves and for the clients they work with. So the demand has never been greater, essentially, to learn and implement these root cause, like cutting edge solutions that actually result in long-term sustainable behavior change and transforming for yourself and for your clients. So we really have to look at like what's happening on this, neurological level, this nervous system level that's creating these high rates of burnout, and how can then we help support ourselves and our clients with these climbing rates of burnout. And that starts with understanding our own nervous systems, understanding the nervous systems of our clients.
Beautiful. And so that brings us to the second trend that we're seeing, which is, of course, as a result of everything that Laura just described, this increased demand for people, whether it's individuals, whether it's leaders inside of companies or leaders of nonprofit organizations, any human being right now, there's this increased demand for these more root cause solutions. And so with that, we've also seen the quote unquote supply side of the equation increase, right? We know that coaching in particular has been one of the fastest growing industries over the last 5 years. More and more people are leaving their full-time roles to pursue a career in coaching or in human transformation. So you might not consider yourself a coach, or maybe you do coaching work, but you also do consulting work, or maybe you do speaking, or I know some of us have businesses, like Lucy mentioned her photography business, right? Service-based businesses where we're meeting humans, we're meeting our clients in very transformative moments of their lives. And so with that increased demand and the increase on the supply side, we've seen this elevation in the sophistication of buyers. So because in general, the coaching industry is pretty unregulated, for a long time, coaches and experts like you and I that were doing this work could kind of just go out there, maybe use some assessments, maybe use some strategies and some structural tools to support their clients. But we're really seeing this increased demand from the marketplace in general for results that are really rooted in the science, and to really support them in not just short-term transformation and short-term change, but that really long-term sustainable change and transformation that I know we all want for ourselves personally, and we all want for our clients as well.
Yes, and that takes us to number 3, which is this aspect around coaches and experts are craving a new way of experiencing success as well. So another trend that we've noticed amongst, entrepreneurs and like Kate was saying, like consultants, or if you're in a public speaker, is like the high rates of burnout even in those industries as well. So we talked about some of the corporate burnout numbers. So I just want to share a few numbers with you now here too around what we're seeing, or what studies are showing around founders as well. So there was the National Institute of Health found that 49% of entrepreneurs reported experiencing high levels of stress, compared to, like, let's say 30% of non-entrepreneurs. I actually think this number is a little bit higher. I think this study was done a couple of years ago, but that's 49%, right, of entrepreneurs. And then also a survey by startups found that 65% of founders feel extremely or somewhat stressed, and 34% feel that stress has had a negative impact on their ability to confidently navigate change and market volatility, which is happening like on unprecedented levels right now. So essentially then there's this desire, like where, as an entrepreneur or a consultant wanting to grow, of course, your business or scale in some way with your clients, but at the same time there's high rates of burnout, right, happening too. So, and essentially Kate and I have been talking about this instead of addressing, okay, what's going on here, and of course there's multiple factors that has led to these numbers, but one of them certainly being this aspect around some of the modalities being used in the coaching experience with clients that can lead to more mental exhaustion. So like for example, taking like mindset work as an example, where there's a lot of talking, kind of like Kate coined the phrase mental ping pong going on, right? And so a lot of the clients that we've worked with who are coaches, they find themselves feeling really drained sometimes at the end of their sessions with clients. And so that is an aspect too, I think, that's leading to like these coaches or founders or entrepreneurs wanting to have a new experience where they want it to feel a little bit more easeful and not so taxing, and not so, just feeling more energized at the end of their coaching sessions with clients or their speaking engagements. And so I actually wanted to share a brief little story right now around a client I recently worked with who, she's a coach, and she's been a coach for many years, and she's very well trained. I mean, she went to, I think, one of the Coaching Federation programs. She learned a lot, but it was all mindset-based work. And she's been working now for the past, I don't want to say 5 years as a coach. And she just shared with me just how exhausted she is. Like, she's like, I get off calls and I just feel like I haven't really, like, yes, we've made some progress with my client, but I feel really tired at the end of the session. I noticed myself feeling like I'm tired, but wired, like this feeling of like, I want to keep moving and doing, but I'm also feeling like kind of low energy. And also she was describing this aspect, like her clients kind of coming back each session with the same thing. Like, so just when she thought, okay, breakthrough, like, would happen during the session, and then like 2 weeks later, they come back for another session, the same issue was kind of reappearing again. And so it felt like she was kind of pushing this boulder up a hill. It was like, why can't I just get her to have the client to have this breakthrough, right? So this is what I've been supporting her on in terms of like this missing link around the nervous system, which before she wasn't as aware of. And now, of course, working with me, she's become more aware of her own nervous system, how it's responding in these sessions with her clients, how to also then go deeper with her clients than just this like cognitive mindset, like mental ping pong. And that's actually leading her to feel a lot less stress and energy drain at the end of her sessions.
I love that story, Laura. Not that I love that that client of yours is moving through that experience, but just because I hear that so much from folks that are in this space, wanting to help humans transform. And when we leave it to our minds and our clients' minds to do that work, it can be very, very draining and exhausting. So thank you for bringing that up. We want to just take a quick moment to just do like a self check-in. And this is totally anonymous. I'm going to launch a poll here in a moment. And it's basically just on a 1 to 10 scale. And we're going to kind of just be really open and honest with ourselves about where we are today as individuals and as people that are doing this work in the world. And so no one's going to see the answers. No one's going to know what you put. So I just encourage you to be really, really honest with yourself here. And so the question you should see the poll on your screen now, is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most prepared. How prepared are you feeling right now, or have you felt leading up until this moment to meet the high demand for being able to deliver root cause solutions and deliver that deeper client transformation in your business? So 10 being the most prepared, 1 being the least prepared. Yeah, let's give everyone another 10 seconds or so to respond. Looks like we have some answers coming in. All right, so I think there's a few folks. All right, we'll give everyone another 5 seconds. All right. I'm going to end the poll. And let's just see where we are as a group today. So we have 1 person that feels really, really confident. We have some folks between 6 and 10, some folks down in the 4 range. So again, this is just a way. And so if you're watching the recording, you can kind of just check in with yourself and maybe write the number down just as a way for you to check in. And again, there's no judgment here. This is all about meeting ourselves with compassion and just seeing, okay, if we're at an 8, what is it going to take to move the needle to get to a 9? If we're at a 4, what could it look like to move the needle to get to a 5 or 6? All right. Let me get out of that. And then Laura's just going to share really briefly a little bit more on why some of these current coaching modalities like mindset work that she just referenced are inherently limiting. And so Laura, I'll turn it over to you.
Yay. Thanks, Kate. And thank you everyone for taking the poll. I appreciate it. And so I want to just talk for a moment about some of these modalities, but I first wanted to say that as a disclaimer, we're all on our own unique journey. So there's always a time and place or a tool or modality. And these tools, so essentially these tools have a place. So again, Kate and I aren't saying that any of these tools are wrong or bad or don't use them. There's a time and place for them. And they can also create some level of change for people. And I've had clients share with me that they've tried some of these modalities and have experienced some level of change. So definitely want to preface that first. So these are some tools that can be used for sure. And they do offer their own transformation. But they are limited in scope. And so we actually need to go a little bit deeper. And this is where Kate and I are talking to you today about this opportunity to go deeper in terms of somatic work or in nervous system work going into the body. So a lot of these modalities that you're seeing here on your screen or that you saw there was mindset coaching, for example, doesn't address the root cause of what's keeping clients where they are today. And I want to talk briefly about some of the neuroscience of these modalities and why they're not addressing the root cause. And so what it is essentially most of these modalities engage the cognitive prefrontal cortex part of your brain. And so stress responses, though, are stored in the limbic system and the nervous system. That's where the stored stress is. So only through experiences so the limbic system only experiences things through sensory, through experiences. It's pre-verbal, so it doesn't speak in words. So the actual process is a nonverbal memory and emotions that go, from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex then will try to make sense out of what the limbic system or the nervous system is communicating to this front part of the brain. And that is where then it'll try to form some languaging around what messages it's getting. So essentially then when working, let's say you're in a mindset call with a client and they're sharing something with you about, I don't know, they're noticing that they're procrastinating on certain projects. They don't know why they're not just moving forward and doing the thing because they know how to do it. And maybe you as a coach are trying to get them to rethink, get them to shift their thinking around procrastination or about the task that they have to do. So they'll go ahead and do it, right? But the thing is, when you're doing it from that perspective, like again, you're talking to this front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which also isn't even always fully available when someone is really dysregulated or in a survival response. So you're also talking to a part that maybe not even fully online. But let's just say on some level it's there. But then again, like the part that's creating the procrastination, the root cause of why this person isn't taking the action on something in their business or something in their life, that is in a different part of the brain. It's in the nervous system. So do you see how like a lot of these modalities, like we have that Kate just listed here on the screen for you to look at, that is the part of the brain that these modalities are addressing, is the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, where there's language and rational thought. And when someone is in a survival response, they don't have as much access to that rational thought. And on top of that, again, how we begin to really shift subconscious behaviors and thoughts and beliefs are within the limbic system and the nervous system, which is done through a sensory felt experience, not through rational thought. So that's why they're limited in scope. And that's why the nervous system, we need to go deeper.
Yeah. So well said, Laura. And so what we really want to take a moment to really feel into right now in the spirit of felt sense experiences is the opportunity that exists for you right now to move beyond some of that inherently limiting mindset work or mind-led modalities. And so before we do that, we're going to dive into and move into another intentional reflection together. Before we do that, though, I wanted to just share a couple examples of what I call green lights. So I love this term green lights to describe momentum that's getting built right now in the general market, where, if you think about meditation 10 years ago, it was a concept that so many people thought was reserved for monks on a mountain top somewhere in the East, in a very remote place. And what place did that have for people in the Western world or people in the workplace or entrepreneurs or business owners? And here we are today, and meditation has become, in many cases, somewhat of an overly prescribed tool. Laura and I always talk about how sometimes that can actually have a negative impact if someone is really dysregulated and they go to try to meditate. But I use this example because now meditation is commonplace, right? It's commonly accepted. And we personally believe that in just a short amount of time, nervous system work is going to be the same way and is going to actually kind of replace some of these mindset tools as really the go-to and the kind of the gold standard, if you will. And so right now, we're seeing so many green lights in the market that are letting us know that the world is really shifting in this way. And I want to share a couple examples of that with you. So just a month and a half ago, Netflix, which we probably, I would garner to say that 95, if not 100% of us on this call and 95 to 100% of us watching the recording have been consumers of Netflix at one point in time. So we all understand Netflix, their business model of making shows and movies readily available at our fingertips. And so about a month and a half ago, they hired a head of coaching. And this is a woman that came and spent most of her career at one of the largest banks. And my guess is they're probably paying her a good chunk of change to be in this full-time role now at Netflix. And so just even a year or two ago, we probably wouldn't have heard of companies hiring and making these, big investment decisions to have someone in that role full-time, but it's happening. So green light. Another green light. So this is someone that actually sent me a message personally. This is a sales leader within a fast-growing technology startup. Again, I use these examples in the workplace and in the corporate space because I think we tend to think we're entrepreneurs in this silo, we're doing this innovative work, and this world over here is separate, and it kind of tends to lag behind. But the reality is this work is now everywhere. And so I received this message from this individual who's literally taking a leave of absence and using words like, I want to try to regulate my nervous system. I'm finding it so hard to do anything right now because I'm living in a fight or flight response, right? So more and more quote unquote everyday humans are starting to use this language. And so it's only a matter of time before, again, this is the gold standard. And then the last green light example that I'll give, and it's a personal share, is I was recently selected to speak at one of the world's largest financial conferences in the fall, next to this guy that we all probably know, Jay Shetty, who's a huge thought leader in the personal development and mental wellness space. And, you know, and I don't share this to brag, I just share it as context and as fact, is my speaking proposal was selected across hundreds, probably thousands that got submitted. And I'm literally speaking about how to build resilience through the lens of the nervous system. And so clearly there is this desire for people to learn about the nervous system and to bring it into their work in these spaces and places that maybe we otherwise would not have thought that this work would be important in. So yeah, really, really powerful. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura, who is going to cue us through this next quick reflection exercise. And then we're going to get ready to share an announcement with you here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, so exciting right now. Like Kate was just sharing around some of these green lights, and I've been seeing them too, because I also, you know, work with corporate clients and B2B clients, and they're using language like this too, or like, I want to regulate my nervous system, or, you know, I know that I'm living in survival. So, and wanting to like bring me in either for team trainings or one-on-one coaching to like help them with this. So yeah, it's just really exciting. So I want to just, take a moment to have you reflect on, what do you see, hear, and feel that represents the highest potential for yourself right now? And this could be for your business, for your clients, for the industry, for the planet. So I want you to just take maybe a couple minutes here to just sort of reflect on, what do you see, hear, or feel that represent the highest potential for yourself or your business or your clients or the industry or the planet? Amazing. So I'd love you tonight to just, what came up for you for this one? And if you'd like to unmute yourself and share something, and or you can drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear what you felt or what you came up with in response to that question. And if you don't feel like sharing too, that's fine. Just wanted to check in. I know Jennifer shared something, holistic and grounded approach to manage, grow, and excel in life at home and at work. Oh yes, Jennifer, I love that.
Logan, I see you off of mute. Did you want to share something verbally?
Yeah, so in the work that I do, trying to kind of elevate from coach to a curriculum provider, framework provider, the same thought is here. How do you make this replicatable so that it's not just my one-off work with 5 clients at a time, but how do you equip a senior manager with some pull in a company with the right tools and frameworks and packaging to do this all the way down their downline? All of a sudden you've got a ripple effect of change. That's where my mind goes with this.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, the ripple effect. So beautiful. My mind is already,
I know.
my brain is, my wheels are already turning. Being in that space specifically with B2B and corporate. I love that, Logan. Thank you for sharing and naming that. Anything else that's coming up for folks? A lot of peace, joy, balance, growth, more fun, better problem solving, tons of more goosebumps. Yeah, sometimes it's not any particular thing. It's just the way that it makes us feel, right? Just living in a way that truly feels as good as it looks. And that doesn't mean that it always feels pleasant. You know, this work requires us to actually sit and meet the discomfort. But when we do that, we start to find much more alignment, much more ease overall, much more momentum. Yeah, so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah, Carmana, ease, freedom, laughter, right? Like these are the things that we can start to reconnect with when we get our entire nervous systems, not just our mind, but also our body on board for the ride. So beautiful. Thank you all for sharing and dreaming into the future with us. We'll invite you just to continue to do that. Sometimes it takes just a little seed getting planted, hearing something or sensing something, and just start to notice what comes up for you later today, the next few days, the next week, as you start to plant these seeds that we're planting together today. And so we're probably going to go about 5 or 10 minutes over, and we want to be so respectful of everyone's time. So if you have to hop. If you can stay a little later, please stay. Before you do that, we're approaching the top of the hour. We did want to share a really fun announcement. And that is that Laura and I have decided to officially partner together to found the Future Shape Coaching Academy. And our first certification program is going to go live in September. So really early on in the fall, and we are going to launch a neurosomatic certification program. And so we're not going to share too much details of the program. There's a QR code here if you want to book an enrollment call starting in early June. You can certainly book the call now, but we won't start taking calls until June to learn more about the program. But I'll just share it will be a 6-month program. And it's going to be the first of its kind in that we are combining both the training and skill development of working with not only your own nervous system, but the nervous systems of your clients. And then we're also going to incorporate the business strategy side of things for those of you that desire to start to bring this work into more spaces and places. And so as we mentioned earlier, Laura and I have extensive experience working with organizations. My background is first and foremost in business development and sales strategy before I launched into this space. And so we're going to be supporting you in developing the right messaging and the right offerings and how to really get this work to the masses, or really ultimately who in the hands and in the hearts of whoever you want to serve. So it's going to be this really beautiful blend of somatic nervous system work and skill development, as well as the business strategy side of things. So if you're interested, feel free to scan that QR code, and that will take you to a calendar link to book a time to chat with both Laura and I about the program. And Laura also shared the link in the chat, so you can easily just grab that link and click on it from the chat. All right. So now that we shared that fun announcement, and of course, again, if you have any questions, we'll stay a little bit later. If there are questions, we'll stay on for, and like I said, we'll share more details when we meet you if you decide to book an enrollment call.
Hey, so excited.
It's been a long time coming that Laura and I have wanted to partner together in this beautiful, beautiful way. And so with that, we want to wrap up with the 3 realities that the top 1% of coaches are using right now. And we started to really touch on a lot of these pieces, but wanting to just highlight a couple things that will allow us to really maybe better understand this from a science perspective and let it land in maybe a different way than it's landed for you before. And so the first reality is that world-class experts, so whether it's coaches or just transformation experts like yourself, are using this holistic model grounded in the latest neuroscience that addresses the entire nervous system. So both brain, but also body. So Laura touched on, what can start to happen when we're just operating from the mental field alone, feeling like we're playing that mental ping pong and missing everything that's happening from the neck down. And so the reality is what we know now through science and through polyvagal theory, something that we like to call the 80-20 rule. And so you probably have used the 80-20 rule in your own life, whether it was, I know the 80-20 rule is used a lot in like diet culture around, 80% of the time I'm going to eat clean and 20% of the time I'm going to let loose. But here, what we mean by the 80-20 rule is that, we have this master highway in our bodies, and it's called the vagus nerve, and it's our 10th cranial nerve, and it runs from the base of our spine all the way up to our brainstem. And it really is kind of this master superpower highway where information is being communicated on both directions to really inform our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, our behaviors, our habits, which really all ultimately dictate the results that we see in our lives. And the same holds true for our clients. And the reality is, and this is where the 80-20 rule comes in, is that 80% of that information that's being communicated along this vagus nerve highway in our nervous systems is being communicated from our body up to our brain. And only 20% is being communicated from our brain down to our body. So this is why, so many practitioners like yourself, so many experts, as well as your clients and clients across the market are experiencing so much frustration when they only use the mindset work. So think of it like Laura mentioned, that uphill boulder that we feel like we're pushing. Well, it's because we don't have the 80% of the equation on board. And that 80% is really the body. It's what's happening in the body. And so we feel really excited about this work with somatics. And for those of you that maybe are newer to that term, somatics, soma means body. And it's basically a way to think about creating wholeness in the human system. And so if you think about it, if we're only using our minds or only trying to transform our minds, we're missing this really big piece of the puzzle. We're missing out on that. And so having a somatic or body-based approach when we work with our clients and when we work with ourselves allows us to really tap into what's possible, right? Because as Laura mentioned, anything that's new or novel to our nervous systems is initially going to feel unfamiliar and therefore unsafe from our nervous system's perspective. And so if we want to get our entire nervous systems on board, we need to work with the 80% of the equation, which is the body. So again, this is all grounded in what we call polyvagal theory. Some of you might be familiar. For some of you, that might be a brand new concept that you're just hearing of. But that really informs the basis of the work that Laura and I do in the world and the work that we're excited to bring to you all and anyone that decides to participate in the fall certification program. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to share a little bit more about the second reality that we're seeing right now.
Yes, thanks, Kate. So the second reality that we're seeing is that a lot of world-class coaches know that entrepreneurship isn't a mindset game. And I don't know if you've heard that term before, but a lot of times people will say like entrepreneurship is a mindset game, and it's actually a nervous system one. And the reason for this is because, you know, they know that this, so as these top coaches know now, the ones who are using nervous system, they know the state of their own nervous system is the foundation for their success and for their client's success, because whatever state you're in, whatever state your nervous system is in, is going to mirror to your clients, right? So also like showing up to sessions and being able to really be regulated or stabilized as much as possible so that you can mirror that to the client that you're working with. And also knowing how to regulate your own nervous system so you can teach, you know, again, teaching, showing how your clients to do the same thing. And a lot of that is done through your own embodiment of this work. So yes, you can have a lot of the tools and the modalities, you can know them cognitively, but you really also have to embody them. This is how, that's the level of like transformation that happens at this deeper level when you're working with clients. You're able to spot things too that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to spot when you're really in your body and really present, and your nervous system's not in a survival response. There are cues, there are a lot of nonverbal cues you can pick up on that are really, really essential to understanding where your client is and maybe what they need in that moment. And this goes for teams as well, not just for individuals. So again, we come back to this aspect of that, you know, the nervous system, entrepreneurship is a nervous system game. Essentially, it's not a mindset one, because it requires going to that deeper root level with yourself and with your clients to really facilitate change.
Beautiful. Thanks, Laura. And one thing I wanted to just quickly mention that I inadvertently skipped over is to hear back from our friend Nicole that just got hired at Netflix. Remember her? And so it's interesting when I was, you know, I'm always looking at trends and again, looking for those green lights. And a lot of that has been kind of just coming to me naturally now that my brain antennas are up for this. And, you know, she was actually seen on LinkedIn less than a year ago, raving about somatic work, raving about embodied coaching, raving about doing that in a trauma-informed way. And the program that Laura and I, the neurosomatics program that we'll be moving folks through in the fall, is going to be a trauma-informed program. So it just speaks to the fact, again, that this is another green light, that this work is getting out to the masses and it's becoming more of a mainstream approach. And so with that, that brings us to the third reality, which is that, you know, world-class experts and coaches are really shaping the future of the industry instead of reacting to it. And so we all have a really unique opportunity here in this time to really be first movers, to be, again, as Laura mentioned, in the first 30 seconds of our time together today, to be the pioneers that we know we are in being able to help shape where this industry moves. And so for those that aren't on this call or haven't had the pleasure to sign up to watch the recording, you know, we always assume that people have the best intent and to have good intentions when they're working with their clients. And so sometimes people just don't know what they don't know. But we believe that because of where humanity is right now and where people are, and you heard all the stats that Laura shared earlier, people need us, and people need us to level up, and we need to, quite frankly, just do better, right, as an industry. And so we believe that, you know, industries are just made up of humans, organizations are just made up of humans. Like any container or community or ecosystem that we have is really just humans. It's really just people at the end of the day. And so as humans, we have a really unique opportunity to really shape the future and charter a new reality. And so maybe just take a moment to really let that sink in, right? I know there was a lot there. So maybe it's just a deep breath. Maybe it's even closing your eyes and just connecting with something that came up for you during those three realities that really, really stuck home for you. Yeah, just really letting that sink in. Beautiful. And so we want to be so respectful of your time again, but we're also so glad and happy to hang out here. Laura and I have intentionally blocked off time, so we have lots of space. We would just like to check in with you and see if there's anything that you want to acknowledge from today's session that you want to name, either out loud or in the chat, and perhaps something that you'd like to personally commit to taking action on as we bring our time together today to a close. So maybe you have an answer for both of these, or there's one in particular that you really feel called to reflect on.
I have something I can say.
Yeah, Lenny, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. I appreciated you saying it's 80% of the nervous system, because I think my whole career I felt like my nervous system was dysregulated, but I kept shoving it down because it felt odd to acknowledge that. And then recently I've had this saying, whenever I choose to do something not at the expense of my nervous system, and that's really dictated what I do in my business and in my life. And so just having you confirm that today was really profound. And I plan on using that moving forward in all the transitions in my career that I'm working on.
It's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I have the pleasure to have some extra insight into that, as Eleni is also a friend of mine and here in Austin as well. And I'm just so excited for you, and thank you for sharing and for your vulnerability and bravery and putting words to that.
Yes, thank you.
Is anyone else inspired to share anything? Maybe there's something that's on your heart right now, but you're not quite ready to share it. And so maybe it's something that you spend some time connecting with later today or later this week. Or maybe it's something that you star on your paper if you wrote it down. Just invitation to really come back to that. Beautiful. All right. So that concludes our time together today, but Laura and I will stay on for a little bit. If there's any questions or anything else that's on your mind that you'd like to pose or share, we want to make ourselves available for you in this space. Any other final thoughts or questions or anything that's on your heart that you'd like to share? Thank you, Eleni. All right. Yeah, having hope for the coaching industry.
100%.
Yeah, no worries, Erin. We're just glad to have you on here. I know sometimes you have to join at inconvenient times or places, so it just means a lot to us that you're here. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. All right, well, it looks like there are no other questions or thoughts, so we can close out our time together today. Again, feel free to use that enrollment link or that QR code to book a call if you are interested in exploring certification with us. And I'll just put that up once more, just in case you need it again. We will be sending out the replay to this. So whether you're joining the replay for the first time or you want to rewatch any parts after joining us live, we'll have that in your inbox in the next 24 to 48 hours. Beautiful. All right. So beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your day and your week. And Laura and I are so grateful that you spent this time with us, and we look forward to connecting and staying in touch.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It was truly an honor to be amongst all of you.
Beautiful. Bye for now.
Bye.